That's a very good question. What is the video being used for? The whole idea of this event and all the events that we organise is to try and get the message out there, to try and share the news with the world. There's people all over the world hopefully tuning in to the live stream that's happening. But the video is then going to be put on YouTube, just like the last event we did, so that we can spread the news. And the beauty of it is that there's no politicians involved. There's no backing from any political party. You know, this is an independent event about independence. We've got Alan Bissett on the bill tonight. But first of all, I'm going to hand you over to the guys from Business for Scotland. Is it Michelle starting off? Please put your hands together for Michelle from Business for Scotland.
Hi everybody, it's great to be here, really good. I'll go and stand over here. The clicky thing. How are you all doing this evening? Excellent, good. So, before we start, I thought I'd just ask you a question. Can I just take a quick straw poll of where everyone's thinking is at the moment between the kind of yes, undecided and no? So how many people would be able to say at the moment, I'm a definite yes? Okay, right. I'm suddenly feeling a bit more comfortable, so there's no tomatoes hiding, or they'll need to lob it further. How about undecided? Okay, good, that's excellent. How about no's? Okay. No! Good on you, good on you. No worries, it's very, very important that we have this discussion. So I'll just tell you a bit, very briefly, about Business for Scotland. My name's Michelle Thomson, I'm the Managing Director. And I'd like to introduce you to my colleague, Ivan McKee, who's a number of different businesses, mostly in manufacturing. Business for Scotland, it's a cooperative. We realised that there was a gap in the market in terms of the discussions that were going on around independence, particularly in the business community. So most of you will have heard of the CBI, who will on occasion claim to be the voice of business, but in actual fact, if you look at their membership, they've only got very few businesses are actually based or headquartered in Scotland. It's probably about 50 to 60, I'm guessing, on that. And a lot of them are large kind of global companies, multinationals and so on. But in actual fact, we know that over 99% of Scottish businesses are SMEs or small, medium enterprises. And of that, 98% of the 99% is actually small, which is 0 to 49 employees. That's the very nature of businesses in Scotland, and we felt it was vital that that voice was represented. And it's very much the kind of community-based businesses, cooperatives such as the Glad Cafe, I believe, and Business for Scotland itself is a cooperative. Okay. So that's our kind of declaration, and I've put both these comments in. The bit at the bottom about building a greener, fairer, more prosperous society. You might be surprised that that was in a kind of business declaration, but actually it's our belief very much that the fairness element of changing our society is absolutely vital. It's our community, it's Scotland, we want to make things better, and this has kind of framed out our thinking around independence. Okay. However, I thought we'd have a bit of fun, first of all, thinking about on the 19th of September, and if we wake up on the 19th after the vote on the 18th, and it's been a no. And just explore a bit, if we could, how that might make us, how it might make us feel. So I kind of thought about this myself and thought, right, well, how would I feel? And obviously I've openly declared myself as somebody as a yes, and so some of the words that popped into my head was regret, a sense of loss, opportunity lost, sadness, emptiness, hopelessness, lethargy, don't slit your wrists yet, guys, anger, maybe a bit of bitterness, which is quite an unpalatable thing to say, but I really thought, but how would that make me feel? And what made me think about that was, who is it we're making this decision for? And of course, we all know that depending where we are in our life stage, we're making the decision for ourselves, but it depends what age you are. I've got 2 teenage children, 19 and 17, so I'm definitely very aware that I'm making that decision for them as well. And of course, I do hope my 19-year-old son's got a lovely girlfriend who's Parisian, and something may come of that. I may have grandchildren as well, very much hope so. So definitely for them as well. But Of course, most people don't consider that actually we're making such a pivotal decision, not just for ourselves and our children and their children, but future generations to come as well. Many Scots, affinity Scots, who've not yet moved here because we welcome people coming into our country. We're making the decision, in my belief, for the rest of the UK as well, because there's such unfairness and disparity within the wider UK society. We've got a duty of care to make a decision for them as well. Perhaps for diaspora, affinity Scots around the world as well, who are looking to us. The eyes of the world are once again on us because it's been talked about. Ivan was recently on Russia TV, Russia Radio, was it? You know, and people are taking a great deal of interest. So I'd ask you to kind of reflect on that. The last wee thing about this is, how does this decision affect us culturally? How does it affect our confidence in ourselves? How does it affect our self-belief? How does it affect our vision of what could be in the future? How does it affect our capacity for making adaptive change in the world today that's so vital? We hear this all the time. It's really very important. And fundamentally, how does it affect our belief that we, with our one vote at the end of the day, our one cross, can make a difference to our lives? That's really very important. So just take a minute to reflect on that. Okay, so we've covered all that off. And time to cheer it up, though. And go to the other sort of thing and just think for a minute, how do we feel when it's a yes vote and we wake up on the 19th? And again, I kind of made some notes about how I would feel. Yeah, obviously, significant happiness and really this massive burst of energy. It's almost like, of all the things we would like to change, where will we start? Because there's so many things I personally would like to see differently in my society, in my circles, for my children's future. I just think I would feel absolutely amazed, really. Happy, you know, delighted, all those sort of things. Let's think for a minute as well about what would the rest of the world say about us. Now, there's a quote that's doing the rounds at the moment that a marketing company in London estimated the value of all the brand marketing that will be associated with Scotland in the kind of 24 hours to 48 hours before the referendum. And they said if you had to buy that, the estimate was somewhere in 800 million to 1 billion if you had to buy that. And I've said before to people, imagine what message we're going to send out to the world. How many people there are in the world. Oh, you know, the Scots are famous for this, that. Scotland the brave, of course, we know all about that. And we're going to send out a message. What message do we want to send to the rest of the world? Are we going to be a re-emerging, brave nation taking its place on the world stage? I certainly hope so. How does our decision affect how we feel as individuals? It's really just so important how we feel. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we thought, yes, by taking that step, and it is a step onto the unknown, in fact, every day is, we know that, but a step into the unknown and doing that, how will it make us feel? How will it make our children feel? And it's really vital. The decision I'm saying is that it's much bigger than a general election, than a Holyrood election, because sometimes we hear people saying things like, I don't like Alex Salmond. You know what? I mean, Alex Salmond's the First Minister of Scotland. Alex Salmond will not always be the First Minister of Scotland. Politicians come and go. By their very nature, they have careers and so on. The decision we're making affects our very future. I was thinking about my kind of vision. And I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to just read out some words because they're quite long. And I kind of versed it around the thing like, if we could do this, that'd be really wonderful. So if we could, imagine it, have a constitution that enshrines the rights of all the people who choose to live and give to Scotland, regardless of colour, creed, wealth, health, or sexual orientation. If we could have a constitution developed by the people for the people and be based on the values the sovereign people have cherished, why wouldn't we? Why would we choose not to do that?
If we could have a mature democracy where the elected government is truly representative of the choices expressed by voters, where this representation acts in the genuine best interest of people that vote for it and is answerable to them, why wouldn't we do that? If we could choose to have children that are fed and nurtured and not have poverty levels in some areas that are comparable with the third world, why wouldn't we choose that? If we could choose an education system that continues to be available for everybody, why wouldn't we do that? If we chose to have a positive business environment where entrepreneurialism is encouraged and supported, where different types of business structures are encouraged and supported, such as cooperatives, why wouldn't we choose that? If we could choose a dynamic and innovative cultural environment where radical new ideas are welcomed and where we celebrate and don't fear other cultures, why wouldn't we choose that? If we could choose to get rid of weapons of mass destruction, why wouldn't we choose that? If we could choose to protect our part of the world and make choices on sustainability as well as profit, why wouldn't we do that? Fundamentally, if we could choose to have a society that's recognized for its core values of mutual respect, integrity, fairness, and opportunity for all, why wouldn't we choose that? So fundamentally, on to the next slide, it is a choice. It's about a choice of two futures. Do we choose to take responsibility and accountability for our land, for Scotland, and stand by that? Or do we seek to abrogate responsibility for somebody else? If we could do that, why wouldn't we? If we can, why shouldn't we? And to be honest, to my mind, Scotland can be an independent country. Scotland should be an independent country. In fact, Scotland must be an independent country. Thank you.
Good. Thanks. Hi. Just check whether okay to stand on this side, is it? Video guys, yeah?